People.
So listening, pay attention. Oh, yeah.
You're looking for capitals.
Drayton School is a community comprehensive in Banbury, Oxfordshire. Its level of pupils gaining 5A to Cs at GCSE is currently 18%, but the school's working hard to improve. In Drayton's most recent Ofsted, the DT department was considered unsatisfactory. A key challenge is to find the time in practical lessons for class discussion and reflection. Martin Cromwell, a former design manager, was recently appointed head of department to turn things round, and John Bailey's come to help.
There's an underlying prejudice in society that, you know, some people go, oh, this is woodwork and metalwork. It's not. Things are made, they just don't happen, they just don't appear on the shelf. If they're going to be effective consumers and users of technology, they have to understand what technology is all about.
Martin's priority is to improve the teaching of large classes by using groups and a technician, Ian Gibbs. Bailey isn't a D&T specialist, so his focus in this Year 7 class is classroom management rather than the technical and curriculum aspects of the lesson.
Right, we are going to be working in the metal room for a few weeks now, making these little objects called metal coat hooks. There are 3 different skills that each 3 groups are going to start off with. I'm going to work with tables C and B, groups C and B. All right, you've got little placards, a bit of Blue Peter, something I prepared earlier to show you the processes. This is not me to get out of teaching, this is to help you look and see what you have to achieve. And if you listened and learned, then you'll have done that. Right, so, Groups A, with Mr. Gibbs, working with your centre punches on your plates, getting ready to use the pillar drill. Group C, over with again with the metal plates, marking out and cutting your shapes and then filing them smooth. Over here with your metal rods, cutting your individual lengths of 5 centimetres, rounding the edges and changing into L shapes. OK? Off we go then.
What did you learn from looking at that there?
I think in the context of the complexity of 3 different tasks, 3 different groups, it wasn't bad.
I like the fact that the room is marked out so that I know where to go. I like the fact that I see when I arrive at my workstation, I've got instructions waiting for me there.
Hold it flat on the table. Yeah. When you get to your 5, just make your scratch so it's visible and cut it. OK?
Place the centre punch where you want the hole to be and hit it once firmly. There's no advantage in hitting it several times, and it's actually quite dangerous to your accuracy.
That's pretty good. Perhaps a little rounded. It needs to be like that, both ends on all 3. You've done all that, have you? Could you do a little bit more, Luke? That's not quite... I can still feel it sharp.
What I see is some children in a room with a pair of very competent adults, and you're operating an instructional style of teaching. They've got their tasks, they're enormously well organised, and they're taking advantage of the fact that every now and then an expert comes up and says, no, don't do it like this, do it like that. And so there's a terrific amount of individual skill formation going on.
That's it. Relax, don't be frightened of it. Tools are just made for people to use, OK? Always look at the end of the centre punch, and then you'll always hit it, OK?
Were you able to manage this level of organisation before Ian rolled up?
I'll be there to show you in a sec.
Oh, no.
So you'd have had to do more whole class teaching?
The whole class teaching would have been hindered by, was hindered by not having the technician around. You know, it's not the if you like, how shall I put it? I can't teach on my own, I can, but in those sorts of circumstances where you do have a large class and where children have conflicting needs, it is an ideal situation to have.
Now the centre punch mark you've made helps you centre the drill. Not too hard.
Good.
Nothing to be scared of.
Just knew it's a bit stiff, okay?
Bits of opera start coming through now.
It is. That's an awful lot of cutting, though. How about I see the other way?
That way?
Yeah.
I must say, you look wholly at ease here. You know, you look like... I don't see any tension in you. You look as though you're being your natural self.
Well,
is that how you feel?
Well, yes. Well, when, you know, it gives me great pleasure inside to see them really working hard at what they're doing and getting something out of it. And it does make it... That's why I drift into the humming to myself. Hand on that end, hand on that end. Gradual strokes. Keep looking to see in case you're going off centre. All right?
So I've done that shape. What do I do now?
Wow, you're going to do all that cutting?
Now, in a lesson that's going so well as this, it feels churlish to say, yeah, why don't we stop here and suddenly give them some big picture stuff or what have you. But I'm wondering when the appropriate points are going to be, how it's going to come into your style as time comes by.
Yeah. I think if I bogged them down in too much evaluative, worrying about this, worrying about that, their mindset is at a certain age where maybe, you know, if we were too high level with them, they might lose the plot. What I want them to do in Year 7 is love the subject.
What do you do now?
Well, you've done brilliant. It's fine. Sorry, Sam, I'm sorry, mate. Show me.
Is that right? Or is it
That's looking good. That's looking good. I'm just getting this ready. Going to show you how to brace.
Does it still look curvy there?
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some things you're going to want to do with this group as time goes by. Some evaluative stuff, because we want to make them self-conscious about their skills and to stop and look at what they've learned. If you were to put in some kind of natural break or regrouping sequence right now, what would it be?
Maybe on reflection, looking at it, I'm thinking, looking back on the lesson anyway, I'm thinking maybe I should have had a stop somewhere where we catch breath, praise the quality, look at the accuracy, give them that little bit of extra enthusiasm, but they weren't wilting. So I'm going to heat that till it's red hot. This takes a little while. While we're waiting, who can tell me what they used to mark out their metal with? Scriber.
From the outside, it looks absolutely complete in itself. I've got a debate going on inside, though, which is how often you're likely to talk to them as a whole class, and what that discourse would involve.
We're talking about, OK, a whole year's programme of work where they get a range of experiences. OK, that's the one element of it. When we go down into the micro level in terms of what they're making a coat hook, but they're doing more than that. They're making a product. They will then learn presentation so that presentation to make that whole product appeal to the customer. You know, the context is you've made that product really well by the sweat of your brow. You've actually had to put effort into it. That's how it's done in the real world, though.
I want to hear you and them talking as a whole a bit more. More evaluative stuff, more big picture stuff,
Yep.
more reflection on the way they're
Yep.
working.
A week later, Bailey returns to see if Martin will bring more class discussion and analysis into the lesson.
Now, what I wanted to do to start this lesson off is just to discuss with you and get you to tell me what you've learned and what you think we're doing in terms of quality. Hands up, no shouting out. Give me some ideas of what quality of work we need for the hooks that we've been making out of the mild steel rod.
The ends need to be filed, so they're smooth at the end.
Filed and smooth at the end, brilliant. And what about the final shaping of the rods? Any answers on that one?
Got to be bent, got to be
Got to be
curved.
bent, and any particular form of bending?
You have to bend it with a hammer.
You have to bend it with a hammer. How about drilling the hole? drilling the holes. What do we expect about the quality related to marking out and drilling holes in the plates?
You have to make sure you use the centre punch first to make sure you get it exact.
Absolutely right. What about the actual quality I expect and we should all be expecting from the backing plate?
Again, smooth edges.
Smooth edges, James, well done. Right, that's the end of the discussion. Your targets for today are to make sure that you've got the quality of work on your hooks and your backing plates and your drilled holes and your shapes so that you know in your mind that when you come to me or Mr. Gibbs, we're ready to braze. OK, get your work out and let's get started. Yes, Lucy? There you go. You've made that hole, the countersink, 3 times, and there isn't going to be a lot of space for that to braze in, because you've made that hole bigger. So what I want you to do, as a favour to me, is agree that we actually just do that hook. So you've got 1 hook, 1 screw and 2 decorative holes.
Okay.
OK, but you'll learn, won't you, that we've got to be careful how we do that. So get it all cleaned off and then we'll get on the braze.
You want the countersink those then? Yeah. Which 2 are you going to do?
What did I say about the flame?
The hottest bit is the tip of the blue bit.
Tip of the dark bit, that's it, OK. So your aim is to get where the rod passes through the metal plate, red hot together.
Although the lesson is still largely practical, Martin's discussion at the start has at least encouraged the pupils to reflect more on what they're doing.
Yeah, you cut it into 3, so they have to be equal. 60, so put them in 60s. Okay. There's pound and half pound. Squire, you need a blue. And then you have to just put it in where you want it, snap it with a hand. You're scaring me now. Look at that. Yeah. You said your arm really aches and it's really hot and it's hot. Me, look, touch your cheek. It's hot, isn't it?
Tell me why you thought it was good, first of all.
They embraced the quality angle. And although they kept coming back thinking, oh, I've done it, is it OK? They weren't too despondent. I sent them away to do some more.
Yeah, I noticed that. And I noticed at the beginning, when you were doing the quality work, that you were teeing up assessment ideas. And then they were applying that to their own work.
They're self-assessing, and I think you possibly heard, I wasn't privy to their conversation, but the 2 or 3 girls waiting for the forge were comparing each other's work.
I wonder what would happen if you were even more explicit about saying to children, take a 1-minute break, tell your partner next to you what you've learned, have a look at each other's work, talk about it. Because I think that you both got it so strong that you could take that even further in that direction.
Well, having run these 2 classes, you know, this way, because of the nature of the size of the group, yeah, I'd take that on board without a doubt. Yeah. Namely, to actually put a little bit more trust in them, to take that break, to share experiences, perhaps have a little respite from the sawing, because, you know, the metal is tough on their little hands.
Yeah,
just give them that little bit of respite. But, you know, yeah. But equally, they are full of boundless enthusiasm, which, you know, clearly we want to keep going.